Can we just stop thinking about what boundaries do to the people we set them up with and instead start thinking about what they do for us, the people who set them up? Boundaries establish what you are and aren't willing to accept. Boundaries give you the space you need to be yourself. Boundaries are an invitation for other people to treat you the way you need to be treated. Before we talk about how boundaries honor us, we need to talk about the different types of boundaries that are out there and which one is the best. Boundaries can present in various different ways. There's rigid, loose, rubbery, or firm, fair, and flexible. Rigid boundaries, there's no change whatsoever. These are boundaries that are set and then never reevaluated. An example of this is not talking to a certain person because they are physically or emotionally unsafe. A loose boundary is open and porous. This type of boundary is unclear and doesn't invite any behavior change. Rubbery. These boundaries are all over the place. The idea of a boundary exists, but there's no action connected to it. It's like saying you want to go to bed at a certain time, but then not establishing a way to do that, and so you just end up going to bed whenever. The idea is there, but there aren't any steps or action taken to achieve it. Okay, now the good stuff. Firm, flexible, and fair. These are the best, in case you didn't get that. This type of boundary is communicated clearly and is proportionate to both the situation and your needs. It's a sweet spot. An example of this is asking your parents not to share stories with you about your ex. And no one needs that. You don't need to stop talking to your parents, but you also don't need to be hearing stories about your ex. They're your ex for a reason. After setting up this boundary, your parents may slip up a few times, but you continue to affirm your boundary and allow them time to change their behavior. This type of boundary is firm by saying what you need, flexible by allowing them time to develop a new dynamic, and fair because you are making a request that aligns with your needs and can be met. I like to envision my boundaries as a sorting machine. The boundaries sort out what I will and won't engage with. Thus, they create space for me to be myself. Boundaries help me create space for myself by identifying my needs, creating a bottom line, and inviting others to treat me the way that I need to be treated. Boundaries help us honor ourselves because a good boundary requires you to evaluate your needs. You know you need a boundary when your needs aren't being met. By identifying your needs and establishing a way for them to be met, you're honoring yourself. You're saying that your needs matter and that they matter enough to do something about it. Boundaries also honor us by helping us create a bottom line in our relationships. The bottom line is the ultimate criteria in any relationship. Let's do an example about it. Say you have a friend who is always changing the plans you make last minute, and not like, 3 days in advance, but super last minute. And you don't like it. You have a busy schedule, you set aside specific time for them, and now they're changing the plans last minute and that messes up your schedule. You don't like it, you don't want it, and you need something different. So you think about your needs, you think about what's in your control, how you can ask for these needs to be met, and you create a bottom line by saying, what is the bare minimum that I need to have happen? In this situation, we're going to say your friend's name is Sam. So you say something to Sam, like, hey, next time you need to change plans, can you let me know at least 2 days in advance? It's difficult for me to change my plans the day before. In that example, the bottom line is 2 days in advance. And the bottom line is so important because it makes it really easy for you to maintain your boundaries. The next time that Sam says, hey, I need to change the plans. Hey, can we do this instead? All you have to do is think about whether or not it's 2 days in advance that they're asking for that change. So the bottom line helps you maintain the boundary. It's kind of great. The bottom line also makes it super clear when it's time for you to leave a relationship. If someone keeps coming up against your bottom line and coming up against your bottom line, then they may not be as invested in you as you need them to be. Bye. As I already mentioned, setting up boundaries invites others to treat you the way that you need to be treated. and that prioritizes your needs. Through boundaries, you're prioritizing yourself. It's totally okay to prioritize yourself. I'm gonna say it again. It's totally okay to prioritize yourself. One more time for you people pleasers. It is totally okay, say it with me, to prioritize myself. Did you actually say it? I hope so. By giving yourself permission to prioritize your needs, you're telling yourself that your needs are important. You're saying that how you feel and what matters to you is so important that you're going to put words and actions behind it. That's a big deal. Building boundaries that works for you is a process and can sometimes feel overwhelming at the start. Don't worry, I know you can do it. Start by connecting with yourself to identify your needs. Then formulate the boundary you need. Be clear, concise, and kind. When I'm processing through a new boundary or even about to reaffirm an existing boundary, I like to write it out. I like to write out how I'm feeling, what I need, and then what I'm gonna say. Sometimes I even practice it. And then I prepare myself. What could be the best possible reaction that I get from this boundary? Okay, what do I want to do with that? What could be the absolute worst reaction that I get from this boundary? All right, what do I want to do with that? And help myself feel prepared going in to setting up the boundary. Try the same thing for yourself. See how that helps you the next time you go to set up a boundary. And if you still need some more help, stay tuned and check out the free boundary builder template that I have in the description. Thanks so much. Hold yourselves gently.